fucking censor me.
Hey there, welcome to the Drummergy Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm your host, Fred Rock Fisher, and I am here today with my good friend, Mr. Vat.
Already?
Mr. Vat. I should talk like I don't know where I'm from. Matt Vander Boegh. That's okay. When Dustin Morris was on, I called him Dennis.
Nice.
And so now Dustin and I call each other Dennis and Frank.
Oh, good.
That's
yeah.
it. Yeah. Welcome to the show, Matt. This is episode 132 of the Drummergy Podcast.
That's awesome.
I know it's every single Tuesday.
Yeah. So 132 is that's over 2 years.
Over 2 years.
Pushing a year and a half or 2.5 years now.
Yeah. I was told there would be no math.
Pushing 3. I don't know. It's a little early to me.
52 times
running
2
numbers.
is 110. And yeah. I think
2 and some change.
I think in November it'll be 3 years.
Jeez.
Yeah. And it's a blast. I've been having so much fun doing this, getting more people involved with checking out the show. And so I like to start off with goofy holidays.
Love it.
Sometimes there's holidays for everything. It's like Love Your Computer Mouse Day. I'm sure that exists.
I thought it might be Don't Wear Underwear Day, so I'm celebrating right now. Just kidding.
That every day's don't wear. You're free. You're free.
Oh yeah. Yep. I got you.
Today is National Take Back the Lunch Break Day.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
That's a day.
Yeah. So when you're busy doing your stuff, is it built into your schedule to take lunch, or do you just go until you realize, I might be hungry?
Yeah. Yeah. That's about right.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Dude, when I used to work in the corporate world,
yes,
you lived and breathed by those lunch breaks.
Right.
That was like the
you're
only
working
thing
for somebody else.
Yeah. You look forward to that lunchtime.
Yes.
And then you milked it for as long as that was the only thing that kept me going when I worked corporate.
Did you hit 30 minutes or an hour?
Oh, an hour, but typically eked it out to an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was salary. So
depending on how many people are on the course,
you just milk that one for as long as possible.
Well, so I'm not trying to bring anybody down, but today is June 24th, and 47 years ago today is when my dad's plane crashed.
No way.
Yeah. And it's always one of those days of reflection for me.
Jeez,
thinking about that. But 47 years ago, that's been a long time. So if anybody wants to know more about my dad's plane crash, and I wrote a song about that, if you go to my YouTube channel under podcasts, episode 30 is Plane Crashes and Music.
Okay.
So
dude, that's one of the I know a handful of, like, I could bring these midline songs to my head, like that, and that's one of them.
Wreckage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that episode's about that song and writing that song and its meaning and all of that. So
okay,
I didn't mean for that to turn into a promo necessarily.
Jeez, you really took a tragedy and turned it into some self-marketing.
So yeah, that was that episode 30. So if you go look for that, you can find out about the song Wreckage and how that all came to be.
Yeah.
So yeah,
man, I'm so sorry.
No, thanks.
What a day.
That's a song also that we performed only a handful of times, and then I think when we were playing, especially in smaller clubs, obviously the song meant something to me, but when I was performing, people were just hearing a groove of a song, and so sometimes people would be like grinding on each other or whatever. And I'm like, I told the band, I said, I'm not playing this song live anymore.
I can't do that anymore.
I can't. Not unless it was like more of a concert setting deal or whatever. But I think its purpose was fulfilled. In writing and recording it. So
don't let the drunk audience members taint that one.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I did exactly. I didn't want it tainted. So Matt, so last week when Jared Halleck was here, we did this raffle.
Yeah. I was watching that.
We did this raffle, and Matt threw his name in the hat, and Matt won this pair of Vader drumsticks.
Yeah.
But then Matt messaged later and said, you know what? Raffle those off to somebody else.
Yeah. Why was I in a raffle I don't even play drums. Well, what am I going to do with those?
I mean, it's good it's good engagement, right?
Yeah.
So Matt said, let's forward these on to somebody else.
Re-raffle.
Re-raffle.
Re-gifting.
Re-gifting. Yes.
A re-raffle. Maybe I can sign them though.
You could.
Yeah, that'd ruin the value.
No.
The ink would just come off on people's hands. They'd
be like, what's with these sticks? My hands are black. So if you would be interested in a set of Vander Los Angeles 5A nylon tip sticks,
only the best.
I'm assuming
it is.
Yeah, okay. Vander is the best sticks. All you need to do is put in the comments Drummergy. Is that right, Mrs. Producer? Sure. Drummergy. She says sure. Mary will keep track of yeah, if you're confused on how, right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Check spelling. No, you won the raffle, but you spelled it wrong. No sticks.
No sticks for you. I'm only going to get one.
Yeah, and maybe the wrapper.
The wrapper. Yes. So that's what we're going to do with the sticks. So we'll mention that off and on throughout the show. Also, this episode is brought to you by Daddy's Popcorn.
Oh, only the best. That's some good popcorn right there.
This one is strawberry milkshake, and this other one is a coffee one, Jitterbug. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So, Matt, we have a lot of ground to cover with you, but one of your latest entrepreneurial endeavors is that you make and sell popcorn.
Yeah. Yep.
Is that right? Is that a fair assessment?
I don't think it gets any fairer than that. Yep. Yeah.
So Bonnie is here, and she put in Drummergy.
Bonnie.
All right.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
I'm glad you could stop by with me and my guest Fred on the.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Frank.
Yeah, get it right, buddy. We got Marissa in there. Oh, I mean Mary. See, she didn't even flinch. All right, so the popcorn biz.
Yeah.
How did that come to be?
Oh, dude, this was so random. So everything in my life is just one random thought leads me down a path. You know where people sometimes are like, "Oh, I got this great idea. Someone should do that."
Yeah.
And then like you don't even think it, like you say that one thing, someone should do that. That's $1 million idea.
Right.
And then you don't think about it again. And then like 10 years later, someone did do that idea and they made their millions. And you're like, that was my idea.
That was my million.
Yeah. But you didn't do anything about it.
So now you're that guy.
So yeah, I chase these random ideas. And so what happened was I was training for some bodybuilding competitions. I think it was my very first season of doing bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get into the weeds on these things and you're like real close to a competition, your diet is so restricted and regimented and everything's measured by the ounce and the gram. I mean, it's like super specific and sugar is gone. Like that's the first thing that goes. And I've got a sweet tooth like no other. And so I would just lay in bed at night, scrolling through my phone, looking at pictures of food. Just like, oh, that looks good. That looks good. And at one point I was on Amazon and I started buying these cookbooks. Like, you know, it was flashback to college era.
Yeah.
When you're like drunk and you're just buying stuff. Like, oh, that was a drunk purchase I made. Well, this was kind of like drunk purchasing, only I wasn't drunk at all. It was just, I was just out of my mind from cravings.
Were you licking the screen?
I was so close.
Ice cream. Yeah. Ice cream.
Dude, I was watching videos of people eating food. I'm like, oh, this has gotten bad. So one of the, like, I bought all these random cookbooks, like cookies, as if I don't have it. My mom had given me cookie cookbooks through the years. You know, everyone's mom has a treasure trove of cookie cookbooks.
Of course.
but I decided I needed another one of those because it had pretty pictures in it. And I got like a pizza cookbook and a ramen one and a donut one. I was just buying them all.
Wow.
And then I also got a popcorn one. And so they all came in the mail, and I'm still like getting ready for these competitions. So I'm just looking at the pictures, and my daughter's like, "Oh, all these look so good, Dad." I'm like, "Yeah, but we can't have them yet." So, but at one point, like I opened up the popcorn one, and it seemed quick and easy because it wasn't like a pizza where you got to make this dough and you got to let it do all these things. So, or like the ramen one where it's asking you to make the broth or the stock, or like you got to boil a chicken carcass like 2 days in advance. I'm like, who's got time for this?
Yeah, exactly. Boil a chicken carcass.
Yeah, like you got to have your house smelling like a chicken slaughterhouse.
Our house has smelled like that before.
You guys have done,
dude. In the freezer right now are jars of boiled down chicken carcasses. I'm not making that up.
Well, my heart goes out to you.
Do you have a spare room?
Yeah. So I wasn't about to do any of those like long entailed things. Yeah. And I still like, that was a couple of years ago. I still have not done any of those things.
Oh, well.
So these cookbooks are like,
yeah.
Why did I buy them? I don't know. I was out of my mind. Yeah. But the popcorn one, it's like, oh, all you got to do is pop the popcorn, and then you make this topping and you pour it over the thing. And some of them you throw it in the oven for a little bit. And well, I could do that.
Sure.
So I made some for my daughter, and it was like super easy and super cool. And she really liked it. And I had 1 or 2 pieces, which I shouldn't have, but I couldn't help it. I was like, oh, that's really good.
The scale's going.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to instantly gain 10 pounds. Coach is knocking at my door. Hey, I smell popcorn in here. But I was at my girlfriend at the time. I had sent her a video message, and I was like, hey, look what I just did for my daughter. And isn't this great? And I said, oh, this would be a really cool business if someone were to do this.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those comments you make just offhand. But hung up the phone, and it dawned on me. I was like, this really would be a cool business. So I looked up if there was anything like it out in Nampa.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't. There's not still to this day. No popcorn shops at all.
Okay.
There's like one in Boise and one in Meridian, and that's it for the gourmet, like fancy popcorn.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this would actually be really cool. So that's where the idea got into my head, and I was like, this could be the $1 million idea. And why am I just going to watch someone else come in and make popcorn when I could do it? So I started this little.
I can even make popcorn.
Yeah, I don't know how to cook. I've had to figure out the science to all this stuff. So that recipe book I got, it has no bearing on any of the stuff I do now. But I kind of learned the basics.
Yeah,
and so now I just make all my own recipes and constantly like stirring stuff together to see if it comes out good.
All right, so let's check out here. We got a couple.
People are asking questions.
I know.
Oh, snap.
I know. So Bonnie's in with the raffle for Drummergy. So some of you have just joined on. So real fast, Matt won these sticks last week, and he's regifting. He's not a drummer. So if you want to be in the raffle for a pair of Vander 5A Los Angeles nylon tip sticks, just put Drummergy in the comments, and the producer's keeping track. She's got her paper and pen going right now, as I see in the other room. And so we will choose somebody by the end of the show, and then I will send you a pair of sticks.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Blue Flashes is here. Blue Flashes, if you want to get in on that raffle for drumsticks, just put Drummergy in there. Bonnie says, is that a skinny popcorn?
Far from.
Do I look skinny, Bonnie?
It's about the fattest popcorn you can get.
I think Bonnie might. Now, Bonnie, I think, has been doing some delivery stuff, and she might need pop. Bonnie, I saw your video where you were eating this really sour candy, and your face turned inside out. So maybe she needs Daddy's popcorn.
Yeah, it's more palatable than sour candy, that's for sure.
Gary says your new set looks great. Thanks, Gary. I think so. Gary was on the show, but we were in the other room, in the narrow area.
Okay,
and I think this is a little more comfortable. Big J,
Yo, Big J, what?
I'll have to catch you all on the replay. Love you, fellas. Love me some Matt Vander Boegh.
Oh, Big J.
And Bonnie says, I support local. How do I get some of the popcorn? And I think Marinere, Drummergy, if I win, please donate to a student. Oh, thanks, James.
Hey, James.
I'll do that. Yeah. Perfect. Eric Nelson put drummer. Eric, you got to put Drummergy, bruh.
You get a disqualified spelling error.
It's like the flags, when there's some sport where the flags go up, like there's a penalty.
Oh yeah.
What is that?
I don't know. Racing?
Probably.
We can throw a penalty flag. Football. That's about the only sport that I know the rules to.
Bonnie is laughing her merce off. The sour ball challenge. Yeah. Bonnie, I was, and Eric puts drummer again. Maybe spell check is not allowing him to put the GY in Drummergy. Eric, we'll get you in there anyway. We'll get
2 strikes. You're almost out.
Yeah. So with this pop, we're gonna get to music here soon. I promise. But so Bonnie was asking, like, where do we find this? So you are out and about at like farmers market kind of deals.
Yep.
Is there a regular spot for Daddy's popcorn?
No.
What?
My regular spot is my area at farmers markets. That's it. People always if they stop by the shop, which is a 10 by 10 tent. Calling it the shop is a bit grandiose.
But it says drummer Daddy's popcorn on
it. Yeah, it's a big custom made. It's yellow and orange. The one you've seen out in Caldwell, they supply those. So that's not mine, but I have my own backdrop there. But my real tent is this bright orange and yellow. Yeah. Logo everywhere. I mean, it's a murder on the eyes.
And you have a headband. You're like the popcorn ninja.
Yeah. Custom headband that has the logo and
shove this in your face.
Custom apron. But people, when they stop by, they're like, "Oh, where's your shop located at?" And I'm like, "Well, you're standing in it. This is it.
This is it."
But
is there a recurring farmers market that you're at?
Yeah, I do the Nampa one, which is every Saturday. If anyone happens to be in Nampa, Idaho, every Saturday morning.
Okay.
It actually, so I'm taking most of July off.
Sorry,
I'll explain that in a
No
second.
popcorn for you in July.
Caldwell Farmers Market on Tuesday nights.
Is that part of the Indian Creek Plaza concert series?
Yep.
Okay.
It runs in conjunction with that. But for some reason, the farmers market area, it's all connected. They're up in the same area. But the vendors go from 5 until 8 p.m. and the music goes from 6 to 9. And I've never understood, why don't you just line up these times or just run the vendors until at least the end of the concert?
Maybe because they're like, I want popcorn. What? I want popcorn. I can't hear over this music.
could be it. So yeah, I'm there, and then I've got a few dates lined up at the Homedale Farmers Market. That's where I grew up. So
in Homedale,
going back to the old stomping grounds. And then I'm doing the Melba 4th of July festival out there.
Okay.
So you can find me in different places, but what you can't do is go to my storefront because I don't have one of those.
Dang. Do you ship?
No. And the reason is, so I tried, actually, I got a friend down in California and she was like, "Can you send me some of your popcorn? I've got such a craving." Yeah. I was like, "Well, if you got a craving now, I mean, the stuff won't get there for 3 days. So, but whatever." So I gave her 3 of these things. Yeah. And I shipped them. I went to, the UPS store where I do all my Amazon returns. Okay. So I was like, "Oh, I'm here returning some nonsense that I bought." So I put 3 of these things in a little box. And since I didn't have a box, I bought one from them. But it cost $25 to ship the stuff for 3 of these. That's more than the cost of the popcorn. Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm not shipping this stuff. It's just, I'm sure there's a more cost-effective method, but
yeah, I would. I mean, that can't weigh much.
It doesn't. Yeah, hardly anything. So the box was the box was $5. So I guess the shipping was still $20 though. Yeah. And I'm like, give me the cheapest option. Oh, that is the cheapest. It's gonna be like $50 if you want it there tomorrow.
So if we find you at the farmer's market How much is is this 32 ounce?
It's 32. Good eyeball. That's a 32 ounce cup. And this is the guy who knows his soda.
That's right. Well, no, I don't actually drink soda.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Coffee.
Yeah. Like, that looks like a 32. Yeah.
This, let's get that in focus there. Look at that.
Yeah.
So how much does it cost to buy a 32 ounce popcorn?
These are $6 each or 3 for $15.
I thought you were going to say 2 for $12.
Yeah, $6 each, 2 for $12. What I
it
suggest
just sounds better.
I actually suggest buying 6 for
60.
Yeah, 6 for 60. But anytime people
you're not a millionaire yet, Matt, I'm going to help you.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, we need it. Where's our Shark Tank investors?
I
out
know.
there?
Bonnie,
where's your money?
Bonnie, get out your dough.
Investors. Yeah,
get out your
who won
dough.
these drumsticks? So let's want to charge them.
Eric's got the spelling right now.
Okay, Eric, if you win, then this is also coming with a bill. $10,000 so you can be an investor in my popcorn business.
So Mary put the link.
Got my website.
For
hey, awesome.
Turn down the drum them concert prices. I don't know what you mean by that, Seal. Those are concert prices for the popcorn, I think. I think that's how I'm going to interpret that one.
You're doing a better job than me. Too early in the morning for me.
You know, I can't pick on anybody because even when I comment stuff, it looks like I said,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, happens to me all the time too, especially when I try to type something silly. Because I say I have my own little language of
course you do.
Stupid words. The phone or the computer's always auto correcting them to something that's not at all what I intended, and then you don't read this stuff, you just send it, and then like, oh, whoops, I sound like a complete idiot.
Well, you look good.
Yeah, well, that's up for debate.
All right, let's dive into the world of music.
Oh man, I thought we were just going to talk popcorn the whole day.
Well,
hey,
it's my show, Matt.
All right, I tried to hijack it earlier, but
no, it's great. I really did want to talk about the popcorn, and when we first sat down and these were sitting here, I'd say, "Oh, this episode's brought to you by Daddy's Popcorn."
We've got a sponsor today.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, we could probably work out a deal where I get a free 32 ounce popcorn a week.
Okay,
and talk about it.
Deal.
Okay,
you got a deal, and give some to your guests too.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Thing is, I got to get it to you, so that's like a delivery nightmare.
Yeah.
But we'll figure something out.
We'll do.
Yeah, it costs like $100 to mail it to you, so you gotta just meet up at the gas station.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I get to see you. So I've known you for 20 plus years at least.
The math on that. Let's see. I'm 45 now. And I would have met you in my college years.
Yeah, so your early 20s.
And that would have been early 20s. So half my life. We'll just say that.
Half your life you've known me.
Yep. Oh, what a treat.
Not everybody is as fortunate as you are.
I've known you longer than every girl I've dated.
He keeps picking me.
Picking
me.
Yeah.
So I met you through the local music scene, the rock and roll world.
Yep.
And you were playing in a band called Danger Baby.
Yeah.
Along with your brother Lee.
Uh-huh.
And Zach on drums, right? Zach Garnert.
Yep.
Who else was in that band?
We had another guitarist named Greg Sasser, who is now has been for a while, the English teacher out at East Junior High.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay. So he's Mr. Sasser.
Mr. Sasser.
Yeah. And then we kind of had a rotating cast of singers. So we started with one guy, and then we got another one, and then we got another one, and then where did we ended up with Greg Sasser singing? Okay. So we had 4 iterations of the guy behind the microphone.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And yeah.
So what was my question? Still learning how to speak.
Join the club.
Yeah. So when did you get bit by the music bug?
Oh, yeah. One night, spider crawled through my bed like Spider-Man, radioactive.
That's why you're. You got spider blood in your blood.
Yeah,
spider venom.
Spider blood in my blood.
You got venom in your blood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see. My mom tells a story of when I was a kid. This predates my memory.
Producer, get his mom on the phone.
Yeah, we better verify this. Yeah, I'll give you her number. So I guess in a time that I can't remember.
Okay.
Age 2 to 3 or 4, I don't know. I would just huddle around this little music player so this is 1982 or 1983. We didn't have, I don't even know what we had. Probably a little tape, portable tape deck.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know what it would have been.
Little cassette player
it could have been a little kid's music box for
Okay.
all I know. Probably wasn't anything that played regular music. It was probably ding, 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 ding.
Okay.
Mary had a little stuff. And I would just fall asleep listening to whatever music came out of that thing.
Yeah.
So she was always you were always going to be my music kid. I don't remember any of that. I think the earliest time where I was oh, music is cool, happened when I was going into 4th grade. I was living in Phoenix because my family lived down there, and we would come up to visit my grandparents. Both sets of grandparents lived up here in Idaho, and every summer we'd make a trip up here. My mom would take us. My dad would stay down at work, but my mom would bring us kids up for 3 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And as I was going into 4th grade, my grandpa on my mom's side gave me his old military trumpet. And it was it wasn't even a full size. I've never seen anything like it.
Okay.
It's probably some collector's item. It's it's not a piccolo trumpet. It's not a cornet. It's a trumpet in 3/4 ratio.
It's a little kid's trumpet.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
But it didn't make all that good a sound.
Uh-huh.
It sounded very pinched off, but all the notes were, it was a trumpet.
Yeah.
But I learned how to play that, and the elementary school I was at started their band program in 4th grade.
Okay.
Which I wish they did that here. The kids in Nampa don't start till 6th grade.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm what? So I'd already started playing trumpet and was pretty good for a 9-year-old. And I had 2 years let's see. My family moved up to Idaho when I was going into 7th grade. So I went to join the junior high band program, and I already had 3 years under my belt. And I, at that point, was first chair, a first chair of
I know I'm new, but get out of my way.
Yeah, no big deal. But I was first chair of Bel Air Elementary's advanced band. But then coming up here, it's these guys had only been playing trumpet for 1 year.
Yeah.
And I was light years ahead of them because I was so into I practiced all the time, and take all that practice, multiply it by 2 years. And I was where the high school students were.
Yeah.
Even better than a lot of the high school students. So I was well, I'm pretty hot stuff.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it, and that was the thing I did, and that was probably it. That's where I got hit with the music bug, was playing trumpet. 4th grade, so 9 years old.
So did you do that all through high school?
All through high school. Yep. Now, Homedale High School didn't have a very robust band program.
Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah. So I did what I could. I did
rural.
Yeah, I did all the the honor bands if there were things like that, just to get some different experiences. But we only had a marching band for, I think, my freshman year of high school. One of the years we had a marching band.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, we'd cycled through a bunch. We couldn't keep a music teacher out there. But by the end, my senior year, we had another teacher who had the marching band, and we actually played on the football field. We didn't march in any formation. We just all stood out there and played the national anthem. Yeah. But it was better than what we'd done in previous years.
Sure.
Playing the national anthem in the stands.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I never even had a marching band experience until I went to college. and I was at Boise State and got the marching band scholarship, which back then wasn't really all that much money, but school wasn't all that much money either. Sure, so it pretty much paid for the entirety of college.
Oh, wow.
It's just a different era. That was when school would cost like less than $1,000 a semester. And so you get like a $800 scholarship or whatever.
Yeah.
And there it is. School's pretty much paid for.
Not the case now.
No, gosh. Yeah. Jeez. You got to take out some sizable loans now.
You would have had to start playing trumpet in your previous life.
Yeah. And been zero chair.
Zero chair. Where was the crossing point from trumpet to rock star?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that happened in college. But I will say, so about the time I started playing trumpet, so 4th grade, actually this all kind of intersects. So I lived these two different musical lives. One was playing the trumpet and the other was watching MTV.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that was the hate. This was what, it would have been 1989 because I was 9 years old. And this was glory days of MTV. Music videos. That's all they did. There weren't any shows. I think they started introducing the news, like MTV News or whatever. Yeah. But for the most part, I mean, it was just nonstop music videos, and they rolled one to the next. Yeah. And those hair bands, they got me in a big way. I was just all about those hair bands. Yeah. Motley Crue. I remember the Dr. Feelgood music video with the big tent or whatever pyramid on fire. And that was awesome. Yeah. And Faith No More. Do you remember Epic?
Oh yeah.
Like the hand with the eyeball and paint's flying all over the place.
And the fish flopping around.
The fish flopping as that guy's playing his piano. I was just loving every second.
Everybody's missing out on MTV days.
Dude, I remember waking up. I'd set my alarm because I had an alarm. Something my daughter needs to learn about.
Whose kid doesn't?
Yeah. And I would set my alarm for like 2 a.m. and sneak out to the living room and watch MTV music videos while my parents were still sleeping. And I'd just be like taking it all in, everything from Billy Idol to, I mean, the whole gamut of
we didn't have MTV at our house. We didn't have cable or anything. And so anytime I'd go to a friend's house that had MTV, I'd just be I would just be totally like fixated on that. Yep. And my friends would be like, let's do this or that or the other, or even let's jam. And I'd be like,
no, I'm watching music.
I'm sucked into this thing.
Yeah. It was, dude, that was very impressionable time of life. But I mean, this just got me like to the point where I was growing my hair out long. Yep. And I wanted an earring. At that point, my mom never let me get my ear pierced.
Dang it, Mom. You don't have earrings now?
Yeah, I do. Well, funny story that has nothing to do with anything, but so because all those guys had earrings.
Well, this show is about life and music.
Yeah, life and music. So here we go. All the 80s glam butt rockers. Yes. Well, we called it heavy metal back in the day. Like you can't use that term about it now. You get laughed out of the country. We called it heavy metal. The groups I rolled around in, and they all had earrings, but it was in the one ear, right? Like the left ear.
Left is right and right is wrong.
Yeah, you wouldn't dare put an earring in your right ear. Yeah,
if you really wanted to confuse people, you had one in each. You're like, I don't know.
I don't know what to make of this guy. Yeah, kids these days. So I wanted that earring. Yeah, and a few kids in my school.
Was it a feather?
Never did the feather. That would have been awesome. So I was like, Mom, I got to get my ear pierced. Of course, she said no. Yeah. Her and my dad, they're like, when you turn 18, you can do whatever you want.
But you delay yourself.
Yeah. Until you're 18, you're not getting your ear pierced. So this is what I was like begging them at 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. Yeah. And every time they'd say, nope, not until you're 18. Then you do whatever you want. But I remembered that, and I let it drop basically because I knew I was getting nowhere with it. So for like 6 years, this promise lay dormant and forgotten about. So I didn't want them to change their mind. Right. And then when I turned 18 as a senior in high school, I checked myself out of school at around 11 because I was like, I'm an adult now.
That's right.
I gotta go.
I'm checking me out of school.
Yeah.
On whose authority? Mine.
Yeah. And they couldn't say anything because I was like an adult technically. So I checked myself out of school, drove from Homedale to the mall in Nampa, Karcher Mall. Went to the Claire's and got my ear pierced.
Awesome.
Didn't tell my family about it. I just came home with an earring.
There you go. That's hilarious. I had my earrings in until I broke my leg, and which is almost a year ago now.
Okay.
And I think my holes are pretty closed up. So producer, we gotta.
Yeah. Dude, I think you're fine because my daughter has me put one through every now and then. It still goes. Like I haven't worn this since, oh gosh, I was early 20s.
I might need an ice pick we'll just stick that out on and tap the hammer.
We could do it live on TV right now.
I'm not that brave. Mark Bergmuller is here. He won a pair of my 6 last week. He says, since I won already, how about I just share? Fred is a good dude. Mark, thanks, man. Did you get your sticks, Mark? I think I mailed those last Wednesday, I believe. Yeah. Let me know if you got them, brother. That'd be cool. So you were playing trumpet.
Yeah.
You morphed into this rock star.
Yeah. Well, so because of all that hair metal I was watching, I got a guitar.
Okay.
And was taking guitar lessons too. And then I was pretty gung-ho about that for a while, but there was nothing to really keep me motivated on that other than the weekly lesson or whatever. Mm-hmm. Whereas the school band program, you're constantly doing it, and it's just part of your school day.
Right.
Like you go to band.
Yeah.
So the guitar kind of fell by the wayside. And when I got into college, my brother was playing electric guitar by then, and he'd gotten pretty good at it. And I had bought a bass guitar at some point without ever having played one before. I was just like, oh, that seems like a cool thing.
Who doesn't do that?
Who doesn't just go buy a bass guitar?
There's a lot of bass owners out there.
Yeah. Like, oh, that looks like a fun thing to play. Like all those guys look pretty cool. Not nearly as cool as the electric guitarists, but they have their own charm. So I bought a bass guitar, and I think I was my sophomore year in college. So this would have been 1999.
Okay.
Me and a guy who was in the dorms with me and some guy he knew, we started this little punk band.
Okay.
And it was not good. I think we played live like 3 times.
That's very punk of you.
Very. But we weren't going to sell out. Right. No one could hear it. It was that good.
We don't want people to
we didn't want anyone to like us or hear us or anything. That would have been too corporate.
That's right. Yeah.
But I did that for a while, for like, I don't know, a semester. We had this little punk band for a semester. And I enjoyed it so much that the next year I said to my brother, well, why don't we start a rock band? Because I mean, I don't even really like punk music. What am I doing? And who are these guys I'm playing with? Like,
that's right.
Whatever.
Who are these schmucks?
Yeah. So I was like, hey, Lee, that's my brother. Let's start a rock band. And he's like, oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But we need more than just a guitar and bass. So we were both in the marching band at that point. That's how we met Zach Garner, because he was in the drum line.
Yeah.
I think that was his freshman year. And so we said, hey, do you want to play drums in a rock band? He's like, oh, sure. Okay.
I got nothing else going on.
So that's what we did.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how we found our first singer. Oh, I think he was the singer from the old punk band.
Okay.
Yeah. Random. And anyways, that's how that all kind of got going.
So I'm trying to connect. I'm trying to walk this bridge from
disjointed
from that point to what you do now. So your current profession is you write and produce and make music for film and TV.
Yep.
That's your main deal, right?
Yep.
So did you experience, like, when you had your band going, did you guys as that was happening and you were living in that moment, were you thinking, oh, record deal, touring, playing arenas? Was that part of your thought process then? Like that's where we're aiming?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was my thought process.
Sure.
I don't know if the rest of the guys shared that idea. Maybe Zach, the drummer, did.
Okay.
My brother was always just like, I think was more along the lines of, hey, this is a fun thing.
Okay.
But like
he's gonna have to get a real job.
Like let's be like cognizant of reality here.
Yeah.
Be a little more grounded than like you're thinking a little lofty. But I was always thinking like big. Motley Crue.
Right. Yeah.
Like that.
You wanted to live in that video, right?
Well, yeah, I wanted to live in that video because that was so impressionable, informative to me. It's like that's what being a musician can be.
Exactly.
You know, who are these guys from LA? Like we could in Boise, Idaho, we do the same thing. We don't have a Sunset Strip or whatever, but hey, we got Tom Graney's.
Exactly. You got and Graney's basement.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so when that reached its zenith, and then the sunset on that.
Yep.
So what happens next in the world of Matt Vander Boegh with music? Did you just like, this is too hard, or this is like an impossible dream, or did you make some shift in your life then that you like, oh, I'm not going to do that anymore? Or did you always keep music going in some way?
Yeah.
For yourself? Or?
Yeah. Good question. I always kept music going.
Okay.
Yeah, and I never gave up on the dream of doing something big with music, but I did eventually have to come to terms with the fact that the rock star dream was probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But what had happened was, so this rock band I was, Danger Baby.
Yeah.
We played for about 3 years until we finally tabled that thing. And at that point, I was in graduate school at Boise State because I couldn't get a job with an undergrad, like a bachelor's degree. Couldn't even get an interview at Hastings.
Oh man.
Like, what? Okay, so I went to grad school as like I got no other options type of thing. And I had a professor who allowed me to do write a rock opera for my thesis.
Okay.
No, this was you'd be hard pressed to find a guy like this anymore. He was an older guy, like he stood about 6'5", big old gut, smoked like 12 packs of cigarettes every day, this low raspy voice. And he was an old rocker from back in the day. He used to manage rock bands.
Okay.
And he would tell the story in his classes of how he grew up in some little town out in Texas. I can't remember the name of the town, but you might know when I tell you the story. He said, I used to manage rock bands all the time down there, Vander Boegh. And finally realized that managing rock bands probably wasn't my calling.
Yeah.
Because he was at some music festival and there was a band that was playing on stage of some brothers.
Okay.
And their manager came to him, who was managing other bands. He goes, what do you think of my band over here? And I told him, well, they better not quit their day job. He said that band later turned out to become ZZ Top.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't know what little town that was, whatever hometown they are out in Texas.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. It would like, I'd recognize it when I heard it, but I can't think. All I can think of right now is Waco, and that's not right. But anyway, so he'd live the rock and roll thing.
Okay.
And so then a guy like me comes into communication graduate program, which is at that point was fairly well populated with some nerds.
Some nerds.
And here I am in like wearing my headband to class. I had the long hair.
Yeah.
Jeans with holes in it. This before jeans came pre-made with holes. Like you had to wear them.
You had to crawl around on your hands and knees.
You had to get a knife and then fray them.
Yeah.
So because of him and his history, he let me write a rock opera for my graduate thesis instead of writing a 100-page paper, which is what everybody else had to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is awesome. So that was my first real experience in a recording studio doing some like a bigger production, because we'd recorded stuff with the Danger Baby thing, but it was just like 3 tracks at a time, or 3 or 4 tracks, and make a little demo. We called them demo CDs back in the day. So this rock opera was my first actual studio thing, and I just love the process. Like this is so cool. Like it's all my ideas, and all these people are playing on my, like, bringing this idea to life. This is awesome. And so I enjoyed it so much that I did another album after that, same kind of concept, and that's the one Anthony sang on.
Okay.
Yep. And it again had a blast, but there were 2 gigantic problems with it. Cost being the first one.
What?
You
have to pay for that stuff?
Yeah. And I did all my recording at Audio Lab with Steve. Yeah, Steve didn't engineer it, though. It was all Pat.
Okay.
Pat Story did all this stuff. And I think Steve cut me a little bit of a deal. It kind of grandfathered me in at their lower rates, even though through the years they had been progressively increasing their rates. He's like, I'll just leave you. At whatever. I think it was $50 an hour. So even getting that discount, though, you when you're putting in all those hours, like the cost just becomes unruly.
8 hours later, $400.
Yeah, or when like someone doesn't quite know what they're going to do.
Yeah,
and they're kind of noodling on something.
Right. Yeah,
and 15 minutes goes by and you do the math on it, you're like, that just cost me like $12.
Right.
Yeah, $12 for you tinkering around. Let's go.
TikTok
time is money.
Player.
Yeah. Or Pat, who can be a chatty Cathy sometimes, and him and me, or him and the whoever musician I had would be talking. I'm like, y'all, this conversation's costing me $25. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
But we had a great time. It was such a great experience, and I would probably do it all over again if I could go back in time. I'd do it a little bit differently, but everything was fun about it.
Yeah.
But it was just too cost prohibitive to ever move forward, especially because there was no return off of that. I would try to sell CDs because that's what you did back then. And getting people to spend $10 on a CD was like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
People spend $6 on popcorn without batting an eye.
Right.
$10 on a CD, forget
something
about
I
it.
can have forever and enjoy forever.
Dude, so
can you just give me one?
Yeah, here's a random story, but I came up with this like theory of consumerism. After I'd made my second album, actually, no, it was after I'd made the first one. I don't know, time gets a little bit jumbled, but this was early 2000s or mid 2000s. I'd already graduated with my master's degree, so the album was done. So this had to have been at least 2005-ish area. I got a little booth at the Boise Farmers Market. Yeah. And I sold my CD.
Oh, wow.
And that was it. It's just a little music booth. I had one product for sale. It was my rock opera. That was it. CDs were $10, and that was it. And every Saturday, I did this for 3 years. Every Saturday, I'd sit out there, and when people came by that, like, you'd profile people. Yeah. You're like, yeah, you look like you like rock music. Yeah. And, oh, yeah. So I'd come over and I'd put the little, we didn't even have fancy headphones. Yeah. There's a little foam things. Okay. Put the little foam things on. Yeah. And I'd play it off the Discman. Yeah. We didn't even have iPads back or iPods. Yeah. So I'd play them off the Discman, and I'd like take them to a track that I thought they might like. And so many people were like, oh, this is really cool, but I don't have $10. Right. And then they'd walk on. So I was like, oh, well, money's the issue. But then I'd watch those same people go to the freaking lemonade stand that was like right across from me, drop $7 on a lemonade, slurp it down in about 5 minutes. Yeah. And it's like you gratified yourself for 5 minutes.
And then they go pee it out.
You're going to pee it out. You've got nothing to show for that $7, really, other than some ephemeral enjoyment that's just gone like that. Whereas the CD, you'd have it the rest of your life. Right. Like, I mean, you would, whenever you wanted to listen, you could enjoy it until the day you die if you wanted to.
It's crazy what becomes important to somebody.
Yeah.
That few minutes of that beverage.
Yeah.
Or a lifetime of enjoyment, or at least a few months
of
listening to something.
Right. And so actually, as I was thinking about this popcorn business, I thought back to that time. And I'm like, I know there's a market for popcorn because I watched people buy lemonade and donuts.
Yeah.
Like those little donut things at the donut booth. I'd watch people buy those by the bucketful, and they didn't care how much it cost.
Right.
They clearly had an issue with $10 for a CD, but they didn't hesitate to drop anywhere from $7 to $10 on junk food that's gobbled up like that. And so now I'm watching this play out in my own, like people buy a 3-pack of this popcorn for $15. Like, oh, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take 6. Like, do you know how hard it was to get $10 out of someone for music?
Oh, I know. Let's catch up on a couple comments here.
I keep forgetting about the comments.
I know. This is the live and interactive show.
Yeah.
Tony Galaz is here. Did Fred sign them? The sticks? Not these, Tony, but the sticks that I buy I get from Vader for has my name printed on them. Seal says Rhythm Rules Year of the Cobra, just a man and wife. She plays a rick and plugs into a guitar stack and a bass stack, and her husband plays drums there from Bellevue, Washington. Okay.
Oh, Year of the Cobra.
Year of the Cobra. That might be the name of the band. I read when I have to read stuff, it's like I'm back in elementary school and the teacher's calling on different people to read the sentence. And as soon as it comes to me, I'm like,
you freeze.
Johnny really liked having grocery money that his mom gave him. I'm like, what the? Sorry, guys. That's my poor reading skills. Sean McKenna is here, my buddy up in Canada. All that, and I can barely remember my wallet in the morning. Great stuff here.
Hey, Jared.
Jared's here. Everyone is a musician in Big Texas. James Harrison says $10 for coffee, no problem. $10 for a CD, can't afford that.
That's it. That's the life. So true. Yeah, exactly. It's so weird what we value.
Yeah,
dude. And I so that was also in the time where I was going to hang out, like had the nightlife.
Yeah.
So you'd go out to the bars or the clubs or whatever, and people would order a drink for, back then it was probably $5 to $7 for a drink.
Yeah.
And like a bartender would reach behind a counter, go hand you the thing, and these people would give $1 or $2 tip.
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
emotion.
You value that enough that you're going to pay $1 or $2 for that, but you don't value something that took a musician 2 or 3 years to put together.
Yeah.
Like, it's bizarre. And I can't like just point the finger at everyone else and say I'm not guilty of this stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a strange thing. I don't know why music is like, we value it so much, but people refuse to spend money on it. It's like the weirdest thing.
Well, just like, I don't want to get too far down this trail, but different clubs in town, sometimes there used to not be a cover charge, and now there is a cover charge.
Okay.
And that's another thing. Like, you don't want to pay $10 for this entertainment that you're going to have for the next 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? That's like $3.33 an hour you're paying to, or no, it'd be less than that, right? Well, 369. Yeah. 333 ish.
Yeah.
Like, don't you want to support? There's always this. Okay, I'm going to get really hung up here.
Let's go. Time for some rants.
I'm mad. I'm
getting mad too, just thinking about it.
When you always see these things online, support local music, it's like, it's constantly like in your face.
Yeah.
Right? Support local music. Now, I guess you can make an argument like, well, how good is that band or whatever? You know, you see,
they're not good enough to support.
Right.
Yeah.
You see the whole spectrum of like not very good to wow, that was really impressive.
Yeah.
But still the case, like, support local music until it comes time to support local music.
Yeah. Until it comes time to open your wallet or spend a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'll support them, but I'm not going to go to their show. That's
right.
like 7 p.m.
I liked their Facebook page 3 years ago. I'm supporting them.
Yeah,
no, you're not.
I'm supporting them. I'm streaming their stuff for free.
Exactly.
Like, come on. That's the world we live in, though.
Yeah. Seal says ZZ Top is from Houston. Scott Alexander listening. Good chat, guys. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, I just, when it comes to that whole thing, like support local music, it's like, what are you really doing to support local music?
Yeah. Yep. Allow me to step on this soapbox please. More.
There's room next to me right here.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's about movies and music and movies. Mm-hmm. Like those are the two things that they're huge industries and they've turned people into astronomical stars. But that's only the people at the top, and everybody else down at the bottom. It's like you can't force people. Like you couldn't even pay people to show up to support you. Right. And like people are so, I guess, resistant to spending money on these two things that we value so much.
Right.
So when like Napster was out and people are just, I'll get that music for free.
Right.
Like what? You can't. No. You can't just go spend some money to support. Well, most of that's going to the record label anyways. Yeah, but who cares? Because they're the ones that kind of built this act.
Yeah.
Like, buy the thing. Like this would be the equivalent of you going down to McDonald's and ordering a meal,
right,
and just not paying for it and walking out. Right. Like you're stealing, basically.
You could make the claim like, well, you should just give that to me because plenty of other people are spending money on it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And
the corporate guys at McDonald's are making all the dough.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
and that's always the argument.
Right.
I'm like, well, theft is theft.
Theft is theft.
And like I'd even in through college too, people would be streaming streaming movies before they came out. Like they'd still be in the theaters because they weren't going to spend $7 on a movie ticket.
Right.
But I'm going to get that for free. Like, you people, come on. Like you want your music for free. You want your movies for free.
Yeah.
But you're out buying Dutch Bros every morning for $7.
Yeah.
You're tipping your bartender $2 for opening a can of beer. Like you've got the money. You're just making a conscious decision not to spend it on these things that people put a lot of effort and heart and soul into.
Right. And
the bartender, there's no heart and soul into going. Like no skill, no effort. No offense to the bartenders, but like there's skill and craft and years of blood, sweat, and tears that go into movies and music.
Yeah,
and we love them so much, but people just refuse to spend money. Like it's so mind-boggling.
Yeah, it would be. I don't know if we would ever see a cultural shift in our lifetime.
Yeah,
for that, but it would be nice if there could be value.
Yeah,
in that.
Yeah.
Yes. The producer is going to keep us on track. So James Harrison said let's put James's comment up.
Oh, what's up, James?
Yeah. As Vince Gill said, people will pay $1.99 for an app that makes a fart noise, but complain about paying $1 for a song download.
Yep. That's the state of affairs that we live in right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they think, it's hilarious. You're going to have this little thing that's
Yeah.
I paid $1.99 for that.
Yep.
And it's a gimmicky little gag gift, not a gag gift, but just a thing to make fun of somebody with.
Yeah.
But they don't want to invest. So take your support local music thing and
put your money where your mouth is.
That's right. Put your money in my pocket.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. Exactly. So we as musicians, we're trying to find ways to support ourselves. And so that had to lead you into what you currently do. So let's get into your music sync licensing. First of all, what is that? What does that mean, sync licensing? And how did you get involved in creating music for film and TV?
Yeah. Okay. So, man, there's like a million ways I could start, and each start is going to take us off into a different direction.
Well, there's only 24 hours in a day, man.
Yeah. This is going to be a long show.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start with what I do, which is I write music for TV shows, and they're little instrumental pieces called musical cues.
Okay.
That any production company that's making a TV show can take all this the same thing as stock music or stock photography. It's just pre-made stuff that can be used later. But unlike stock photography or the royalty-free music things where you pay, like the average consumer can pay a little license and then use their thing. The big productions have a whole different arrangement. And so I make music for the companies that supply music to the big television production companies.
Okay.
And then at that point, those production companies have access to my music and they can just drag it into their show as they're editing the video together. And instantly they've got like pre-made music. So they don't have to have a score composer come in and write music to the TV show.
Right.
They just drag and drop files.
Okay.
So that's what I make. And that all falls under the blanket term of sync licensing, which sync, SYNC, stands for synchronization. And synchronization is just the act of putting music onto video.
Okay.
It's syncing up the music to the video. I don't know why they call it that. I mean, they should just call it music for TV. But everything has to have a fancy term.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's like, I'm not a drummer, I'm a percussionist.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a writer, I'm a novelist.
It depends on which tie I'm wearing, if I'm a drummer or if I'm a percussionist.
Yep. So that's what sync licensing is. It's just basically having music available to TV shows or movies or any type of media production that they can use. And then anytime that production, like the final production, whether it's an episode of The Real Housewives or whether it's a video game or whatever, anytime that TV show is aired on TV, I get royalties from it. So it's just like having your song played on the radio. You get royalties for every time your music is aired. For me, my radio is the TV. So my music is constantly aired just on TV shows. And so I get royalty payments that come directly from the TV networks.
Wow.
So I don't have to worry anymore about going out to the consumer trying to get $10 for a CD. Right. Instead, I just get MTV paying me as payback for all the hair metal I used to watch.
Yes.
So that's what sync licensing is, which is it's a much more secure way to get income musically than relying on the fickle consumers. Because they just don't value the music enough to spend money on, at least enough money for you to support yourself.
Right.
At least support a guy like I got expensive taste.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't?
Yeah. So the networks are the companies paying me, and that's money that is all collected by what's called performing rights organizations, or PROs is the acronym we use in the industry. And ASCAP and BMI, I actually am a member of both of them.
Okay.
Well, you can only be a member of one. So when I started out in this world, I joined up ASCAP. And then at some point I left them and joined BMI. So I'm not a current member of both. I'm a current member of BMI, which is Broadcast Music International, as opposed to the American Society of Composers and Publishers.
I could never remember what ASCAP stood for. But I'm a BMI member.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. They pay better. So you chose wisely. Anyways, I get checks from both companies now, and they are the ones that collect from the networks. And if the network doesn't pay up, they got their guy going out with a Louisville Slugger, busting kneecaps, and they do all the heavy lifting and collecting, and they just send me a check in the mail.
Yeah.
So it takes out all that effort of trying to get paid. God, do you remember trying to get paid from some of these clubs?
Oh my gosh.
And they oh yeah, we didn't make enough money. Here's $20. Like, oh, you son of a.
Well, I mean, we when Midline became a corporation, an S corp, and we had even prior to being with a management company, we made a contract, a performance agreement.
Okay.
So we made sure that sucker was signed, and whatever the details of the show were, including pay and how they were going to pay and when they were going to pay. And so
smart.
That came in really handy a handful of times to really just that's where being smart with your business side of music is crucial.
Yep.
But
we weren't that smart back in the baby days. We were just like handshake deals. There wasn't even a handshake. It was just a phone call, probably.
Right. Can we play at your club? Yeah. How's tomorrow sound? Okay.
Yeah. You guys will get half of the door. Okay.
Are you guys half of the door?
Yeah. I don't. Sometimes
you're cutting a door in half. You said half the door. We're just dumb musicians. We don't know what's going on.
I think most of our gigs back in the day were free.
Yeah.
Like we're just making money for the bar or the club.
Yeah.
And weren't getting anything.
See, you're still not worth $10.
I've never been worth $10.
Yeah. So, okay. So you got BMI or ASCAP is collecting your royalties.
Yep. And they send me checks once a quarter.
Okay.
So I get paid. Well, that they kind of offset quarters. So ASCAP pays in January, April, July, and October. And BMI pays in February, May, August, and November. So I basically get 2 checks every quarter. ASCAP has gone down. So that's like the one that kind of pays the bills.
Yeah.
And my salary, because I'm an employee of my own company.
Right.
As you probably know from the midline days,
yes.
like you create a company and you become an employee. So you got to pay yourself.
Right. So
that pays my salary. And then the BMI check is the icing on the top.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, but how did you get involved with that?
I got to thank Steve Fulton, actually.
Okay.
So as I was making my second album at his studio, he caught me after one of the sessions and he's like, hey, I want to tell you about this company I joined up because I think you could take some of your music and send it in. I'm like, send him. I don't have no idea what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, have you ever heard of a company called Taxi? And I was like, no, not a clue. So he kind of told me the business model and that Taxi is a company where you submit music to, and then if it fits certain requirements for certain things, then Taxi sends that music to someone somewhere in the industry, whether it be a record label or whether it be a production company servicing TV shows or a music library. I didn't know any of that stuff back then. I was like still thinking record deal.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. And at that point I was working the corporate job. So I was doing okay monetarily, didn't have a kid yet. So I mean, life was a little cheaper.
A little.
Yeah. So I got $300 just to see what happened. So I joined Taxi, and for a couple of years, I was a member of this service and made zero use of it. I was basically just flushing $300 down the toilet. Every now and then I'd see listings come through for rock, like hard rock music, but those were few and far between. And hard rock, that was the music I was making.
Yeah.
And I was trying to find some way to become some hard rocker in the industry who is more than just a guy with an album in Nampa, Idaho.
At the farmer's market.
Yeah. So I still had these big dreams, but I didn't know what direction that would take. And so some of these label opportunities would come through, and I'm like, I don't even have a band.
Yeah.
Like, this is just a group of like 20 guys I had in the studio. I can't market myself as a band.
Yeah.
And maybe I could market the songs as like, try to sell the songs. Like country music is songwriters sell their music to country artists, and then the artist makes someone else's music.
Yeah.
Thought, well, maybe I could do that. But most rock bands are not getting their music from other places. Rock bands write their own stuff. So there was there might have been some opportunity there, but not much. And you had to have a undeniable hit.
Yeah.
And as fun as my rock operas were, they were not undeniable hits.
No hits.
Plus, they were all like, you had to listen to them in context. You take them out of context, and it's like, what the hell does that even mean? So there was like zero opportunity for the music that I had.
Yeah.
So I was a member of this service to try to become something big musically, but I had nothing that was usable for anybody anywhere, whether it be a band or a record label or a TV. Like, it was just, it was music without a market.
Right.
And at that point, I'd realized that there was a market for country songwriters, because at least back in those days, this would have been, oh gosh, late 2000s, probably about 2008, 2010, maybe. I really started paying closer attention to the Taxi listings, and there was a lot of opportunity for country songwriters, because all those guys back then, they were going to their songwriting camps. They were getting all their material. Like, these artists weren't writing their own. There were a few that wrote their own stuff. But by and large, they were getting the hits from other people, and they had their own little crew of people. But in those days, people were making albums, and if their songwriting camp could only make 10 great songs, but the album needed 12, then their team they'd reach out to the other teams. Like, what do you got that Jason Aldean passed on? Let's see if one of those. And if they still couldn't find anything, then they went to Taxi, and they'd say, let's just see what the general public has. And if there's a great song, we'll take it. Mm-hmm. So I saw enough of that opportunity where I was like, okay, this could be my thing. Yeah. I've always enjoyed writing music, but I'd never listened to country music, really. I always kind of scorned it. Yeah. But I thought, well, okay, country music. I remember me thinking back in the day that, country music is just like rock music anymore. It's just you change the instrumentation. Yeah. And you add a fiddle or a banjo, and all of a sudden it's country. Right. And that is still kind of true. It is. But it's a whole different art form. Writing country music it's a different beast, and it's got its own things, and you need to know those things. I didn't know any of those things, but I figured, I just write a song with a bass line that goes dong, 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 dong. Hey, that's country right there. There you go. Throwing some lyrics about my dog and a pickup truck. My dog. My dog. Not my dog. It's my dog. My dog. Yeah. To talk about the river and some beer, and away we go. Yeah. And so I wrote a bunch of country music because I had joined Taxi. And I wrote an album again, because I was in this whole album mentality, which it's an outdated mentality, really. But I grew up in that era, so it's hard to shake that out of your system. Yeah. So I was like, got to get an album. So I wrote 12 country songs, and I took them to this music conference that Taxi puts on called the Taxi Road Rally, and I was pretty proud of what I had put together. Sure, of course. Not knowing really where the bar was for country music. Yeah. I just knew that, what I heard on the radio sounded kind of like what I had written. Right. And all my friends and family told me, I can totally hear this on the radio. I'm like, that's all you need. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I must be awesome. Never trust your friends and family for all the musicians out there. Yeah. They're just going to give you the good. Right. And they're not going to be mean and like stomp on your dreams. First of all, somebody might. The honest ones might. But like on top of that, they just don't know the industry, and right. they don't know what makes a song good. They just know they hear things and it sounds cool or whatever, and your song sounds, they think, just as good. Right. When really it doesn't, because they don't know the difference. But people on the inside, sure, it's obvious. Yeah. Like a glaring light is going off. Like that is no good, and massive hit right here. You can just hear it. Yeah. So I took my country album down to this conference, and I remember being in a little a room where there were people from Music Row in Nashville, like publishers who were actively taking songs that they found and pitching them directly to these songwriting camps for guys like Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean. And I don't even know who was the hit thing back then. Mm-hmm. The band Perry, I don't know, like all the stuff from back in 2010. Yeah. And there were these tickets hidden under your seats, only on certain seats. Okay. And if you reached under and found a ticket, that meant that you could have one of your songs played in front of this panel of judges. It was kind of like American Idol in a sense, that like these were real industry people that were actively looking for a great song, because if they found a hit, they were going to be like, I want to give you a deal right now, because I'm going to take that song to Luke Bryan.
Yeah.
I'm going to pitch it to him. And if he says no, then I'm going to see this guy and this guy. We're going to turn that thing into something for somebody. They wanted that because that's money for them.
Sure.
Like they were hungry for it. So here I am. Like this is the place that everyone dreams about being, like
right.
in the room with the people that are going to potentially make your career.
Exactly.
If you have the goods. And I thought I had the goods.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I was like, baby, come on. This is where life changes.
Yeah.
The dream house is starting to get built in my head. Like, man, what kind of car am I going to buy? Like all that stuff is playing through my head. And especially as this panel gets underway and they start. My seat had a ticket, by the way.
Okay.
I don't know if I mentioned that. So I put my CD in the pile and it just kind of goes, and I was like number 9 or 10 or something. So all this music gets played before me, and a lot of it was just straight up garbage. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah.
Not to say that mine was great, but it was better than that stuff. And so I'm hearing all this music, and I'm like, oh, I'm sounding better by the minute. Come on, just keep this garbage rolling.
You're gonna sound like gold.
Yeah. I'm gonna be the Maserati at this garbage dump.
Yeah.
So finally, they get to my song, and I specify that they play what I thought was the most marketable, artist-friendly song of the album.
Yeah,
and they played it, and like there was like 4 or 5 guys up there, and they're all like, oh, that's a good song. Yeah, here's what I do different. And they all of them took a turn just rattling off something that I should change about the song.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, what's next? And then we went on to the next song, and all my dreams came crashing down.
They just faded into the ether.
Yeah. The Maserati just instantly vanished. The dream house turned into a trailer.
That's how you feel when you buy a lottery ticket and you look at the numbers and you're like, that sounds like they could be reading those same numbers live on the air. And you're like,
yeah,
Paris, here I come.
It's all happening.
Mansion. Yeah.
It's like when your life flashes before your eyes, but it's like your future flashes before your eyes.
Yeah.
So
they
thought the song was okay. They all had critiques on how it could be better.
Sure.
And then they were instantly moving on to the next one. And then every song that was played after mine got better and better and better. And I mean, by the time they got to the end, they were playing songs that I was like, this is a hit.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, yeah, that's good. But why don't you do this different? And yeah, if you do those things, I might take another listen to it. That was as far as they got. Was like the best of the best got a chance at another listen. If they changed it, I'm like, oh man, the bar to this stuff is high.
Yeah.
Like way higher than I thought. And that's the thing about country music and pop music. The bar is astronomically high, like way, way, way higher than you would think. And in order to get into those industries, you got to have undeniably good music.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, and neither did anybody there. So the next time I went back to, actually it was at that very same conference. I was kind of lamenting my failed hopes.
The sails were up, but there was no wind anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And what wind there was just tipping over my sailboat. Yeah. I admit one guy is the only guy I met at that first conference I went to, and he's a guy I still stay in touch with to this day. Very pivotal in my music career.
Okay.
A guy named James Koshin. I don't know if I've ever mentioned his name to you before. He lives in Green Bay, or outside of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And so I'd met this guy, and we'd sat together in some different classes, and I'd gone off to my little country listening panel, and then came out of there just like depressed.
Sure. Yeah.
And I ran into him in the elevator. And he's like, hey, how'd that listening panel go? Did you get your music played? And he was like excited.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, dude.
He wanted to ride in your Maserati.
Yeah. Just a face palm moment. I had to tell him, oh, dude, I had hoped for better.
Yeah.
And it was like, it wasn't bad, but yeah, I mean, it's not good. They suggested all these things I do to my music. And I can't, even if I agree with the changes, I can't implement the changes because I got to go back to the studio.
Right.
And doing any change is going to be a minimum of hourly $50 an hour, probably in there for an hour or 2 hours. And there goes $100. And plus I got to get this singer back, and whatever I've got to change, that musician who has to change it has to come back in, and I got to get it scheduled. And it's just, there were so many little hurdles to overcome. I was like, the song at this point, I think the song is what it is. And it's like, it's not good enough. So I don't know what I'm doing anymore. and he made this offhanded comment. He's like, well, what have you ever thought about writing music for film and TV? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to be a rock star, man.
Right, exactly.
Like, no, write music for film and TV. That's what I do. I was like, you got to be kidding me. That's a thing. I was like, where do you learn to do that? He's like, you idiot. You are at the conference where you learn to do that. What have you been doing all day? I'm like, I don't know, trying to be a rock star. So it was just that one comment that made me say, okay, maybe there's another path to a musical future. That is not rock star hard rock music, and it's not writing country songs, but maybe it's this TV thing. And so that's why I was like, I'm going to just try doing this. And that was 15 years ago.
Okay. I was just about to ask what year that was. So 2010?
Yeah. Thereabouts. 2011, maybe.
Okay.
2010 or 2011. And just that pivotal, like, little offhanded comment this guy made in an elevator just opened up, just like the skies parted, the sun shone through. Is hey, don't give up yet. All is not lost.
Oh, you can do this other thing.
Yep. You might not be on stage with girls throwing their bras at you.
Dang it.
You might not live in Nashville hanging out with whatever the stars are.
But you'd be getting paid.
But I'd be getting paid. And there would be perhaps a self-sustaining path to a musical future where, I mean, really at the end of the day, all I really want to do is make music for a living. And, I had ways that I thought I would want to do that, but you take the methods out and there's still the goal of just being a lifelong professional musician. And so that's what I get to do now. And I couldn't think of a better life, really, because it's, as you know this, in the bands, you got to do all the rehearsals, and the gear comes in and out of place. You probably have guys do that for you nowadays.
Well, sometimes.
But back in my day, and like in my little band, we were hauling that stuff. It had to come in and out of the rehearsal space we were in, and set up, tear down, all that stuff, and the late night rehearsals, and I mean, squeezing that stuff in. We were practicing in a storage unit. With remember this band Half the World?
Yes.
They were right across. They were like our neighbors.
So you were in downtown storage unit?
Downtown storage. Yeah.
We were there for a couple years too. It was nice because you just badge in, the door would open, you just drive in.
Dude, it was so optimal. But they, by the time we got there, they were like, we don't allow bands in here. We're like, you liars. We know there's bands in there. But so we had to go off hours when no one was there. So we're rehearsing at, I don't know, 10 p.m. until 1 in the morning. And gosh, I can't even imagine doing that. I don't even stay awake past 10 anymore.
If I'm working, I do it, but my 10:30 rolls around. I'm like, I gotta go to bed.
So like now I get to, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, now I get to live a life of a music maker without any of the inconveniences of
moving gear.
Moving gear around, doing the practices, like damaging your hearing,
and dealing with everybody else in the band.
I was going to say personality conflicts or things like that might, I don't have any of that. And so it's a very, very stress-free life for me.
For me, like dealing with other personalities, I've been pretty fortunate. Like pretty much every situation I've been in, everybody gets along for the most part. And it's not, so I haven't really had any of those struggles necessarily.
Okay.
But so this is 2010. How many pieces of music did you make when you were starting from the elevator light bulb moment? How many pieces of music did you make before something actually got used?
Oh.
Something that you were being paid on?
Yeah. Well, there's two ways to answer that question. I'll say this. So I came home from that conference, which was in early November.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm gonna start doing this, but I got to teach myself how to do everything.
Yeah.
Because I'd always gone to the studio.
Sure.
And Pat at the audio lab did everything for me, ran Pro Tools, mic stuff up. I watched him do it because I sat there with him for every step of the way, but I didn't know what he was doing or why and how. And so as I get Pro Tools myself, I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know what to listen for or how to use an EQ or I didn't even know how a compressor worked.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what it did, to be perfectly honest. It's like, oh, you hear people say, oh, I got to put a compressor on that. What is that? What the hell does that do? I had no idea. So I had to learn all this stuff, but I did set a goal for myself to write 50 completed pieces of music during that fall, from that point through the following year. So it was like a year and a couple of months.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, if I can write 50,
it's like one a week,
50 things. Yeah. One a week. So that was the pace that I had to keep for myself in order to hit that goal. And I ended up with 75 by the time that year was done.
Wow.
Yeah. I kind of got my wheels under me as time went along. At first, I was like, I'm never going to be able to do one a week because, prior to that, living in the band world and writing these rock opera albums, our band was notoriously slow for writing new material. I think by the end of the 3-year stretch, we had like maybe 15 songs, not a very high number.
Yeah.
and the albums I wrote, the first one, it took like a year to record it. And the second one was like a 3-year process.
Oh, wow.
So my average annual output was somewhere around, I don't know, 10 tracks a year, which is, I don't know, less than one a month.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh gosh, writing one a week, that's really going to be pushing it. And when I first started out, I was like 2 weeks to come up with something. And
are these songs in a traditional sense, like a 3.5, 4 minute song?
Some of them were when I was starting, because I didn't know the difference between radio music. I still call it radio music. Is the term radio music even a thing anymore?
What's radio?
Yeah, it's like, oh, sorry, Big J. You're still watching.
Yeah.
Don't come egg my house tonight. We used to call it radio music back in my day.
Sure.
I didn't know the difference between that and music design for TV. I just figured it was all the one and the same.
Yeah.
It's not at all. It's completely different strategies to everything. And I at that point didn't even know what a musical cue was. A cue is like a 90-second piece of instrumental music. And I didn't know that. So I was just writing. It was mostly songs.
Okay.
Yeah. That were full-length songs.
Yeah.
3 choruses, couple verses, and a bridge.
Did you sing on them?
Yeah, because I didn't have it. Yeah, I didn't have any other sing. I was like, I got to do this on my own. I got to be self-sufficient. And so I did sing on a lot of that early stuff, and then realized that was a bad idea. Where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. You asked how long it took. So first year I'd made 75 tracks, and by the end I'd started writing instrumental cues because I kind of figured it out a little bit by then. And I think I got my first pieces of music signed maybe by the end of year 1 or maybe early year 2.
Okay.
And that's when, so I was sending stuff into Taxi, and when it fit the requirements that a company was asking for, they would send it to that company. And occasionally one of those companies will call you back or email you and say, hey, I got this thing from Taxi. I'd really like to add it to my music library catalog. So if you want to include it, here's a copy of the contract. And it's really easy process.
Yeah.
It's not at all like signing the old record label contract.
No, where you're like, I'm going to lose my house and everything.
Yeah. You got to get that music attorney, and like everyone's, you got to just watch yourself.
Yeah.
And those would tie you up for years at a time.
Right.
But these music library things, it's just like, it's a contract for that piece of music and that piece alone.
Right.
Like the rest of your musical career is yours to do with whatever you want to. But this one track or however many they decide to sign, that falls under the scope of these terms. And they're super easy terms. It's not like anyone's out trying to scam you in this side of the business.
I think one thing that I don't want to miss in this discussion is, so when you're writing instrumental cues or music in general, like say it's a full length song or whatever, that's the music isn't the feature.
Yeah.
It's in the background of whatever the scene is that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that play a role in how you write or what you write?
In a very big way.
Okay. Because I would just say, like, myself as a musician and being a drummer, and like my role in Midline, I have always kind of had my hands on the steering wheel as the arrangement goes.
Okay.
Like that, that would be where my strong suits come is, like the song arrangement part of that. But so as musicians writing original music, we're writing music that we personally love, and that we think other people would enjoy spending $10 on.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah. So
you had me until $10.
I'm not interested.
Give me a lemonade, please.
This sounds so good, but I got a coffee call on my name.
Yeah. See ya. Sorry to derail you.
Yeah. So how do can those two worlds coexist? Or do you have to just like completely become a different type of musician?
Yeah, you really have to become a different type of musician. And in this TV industry, I tell people all this all the time, and it really blows people's minds and really takes the wind out of some sails.
Yeah. They need an elevator moment.
Yeah, they need that. And this is the elevator moment, is that being too good of a musician or too good of a player is really a hindrance in this world, because the virtuosos are just too inclined to overplay, to do too much. And anything that goes to the point where it's distracting and your ear goes towards the music instead of the TV show means that the music has lost its purpose.
Okay.
The music I write is supposed to be ignored, basically. I mean, you're not really supposed to hear it. You're just supposed to feel it. Like if you were to watch The Real Housewives, I've done a ton of music for all the Real Housewives shows. If you were to strip the music out of there, the show would be so lame. It'd just be ladies bitching at each other. I mean, you'd be like, who wants to watch this? These people are just complaining and sitting around a coffee table drinking wine. Like I can see that if I go to the bar. Why do I want to watch these uppity rich ladies complain about how tough life is?
Exactly.
I mean, there's just nothing there. But the moment you put the music in, that's where this emotional impact comes in, and you're like, oh, this is some dirt right here.
Yeah.
And you just get into it because the music feeds that whole emotion.
It pulls you in.
Yeah. But by and large, people never even know that the music is there. Like it's just completely ignored.
Yeah.
But without it, you would have no show. So the music is what drives things forward, but it can't ever get to the point where your ear goes to the music instead of the housewives.
Right. Yeah.
So the good musicians always overplay like that. And I wouldn't say that they're even necessarily trying to overplay. It's just, they're so good that they're just doing.
They got to let you know how good they are.
I don't even know if it's that. It's just like stuff comes so easy to them that like a guitarist will throw in a thing.
Yeah.
And the ear goes, but for them, it's just like this. It's so easy to do a sweep arpeggio or whatever they're called. Yeah. And they just throw them in like, dude, you just got to hit a note and hit a whole note. Yeah. Let it ring. You don't need a passing tone. You don't need a little trill to get you there.
Yeah.
You just strum a chord and just let it play for 8 counts. But it's hard to rein in the good musicians because they're too good to play simple. So one of my strengths is I'm not that good at anything. Okay. I'm good at knowing my role. Like that's where my strength is.
Well, you recognize what is necessary.
Yeah.
To do that. Michelle Whipple's here. She says, "Good thing I'm not a virtuoso."
Yeah, good thing. There you go,
yeah,
Michelle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, even last night, so Midline's working on this new song, and it's one of the heavier hitters we've had in a while. Pretty up tempo. A lot of our stuff's pretty mid tempo, but I just kept hearing like this double bass thing.
Okay.
And so over the last few weeks, I've been trying to work that in. And last night, I was like, I don't know if this works. Like just being
reflexive. Well,
yeah, I'm just self-aware.
Okay.
Of like, that really doesn't work with what's happening. It's fun to play. It's feeding my soul,
right?
But it doesn't feed the purpose of the song.
Right.
So I had to just like, it was really cool, and I tried it, but it's not really working musically. So
yeah.
But being self-aware, I think that's what you're really good at.
Yeah.
Of being aware of what is needed, and you being able to provide that.
Yeah.
So you've done this for 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Pretty successfully. So do you still go through Taxi for all of that, or can you circumvent that now?
Yeah. Well, I still am a Taxi member.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was a member for 3 years, predating the start of my TV journey.
Right.
So I've been a member for 18 years of Taxi, and I've never let that membership lapse. Even as, this is going to sound pompous, but even as successful as I have become,
yeah,
I still use their service. I just submitted a song just last night.
Yeah,
and if there's ever a downtime in my workload,
you'll go look at the listings.
Yeah, I'll go look at the listings, because I write music for all these music libraries, and they all kind of service different shows.
Yeah,
but they all have moments where some show is in production or post-production and they need a ton of music, and then that show's finished. And then this library pops up and they say, oh, we got a show in post-production and we need all this stuff. So you kind of go to all these different requests that happen at different times. But every now and then you go through a period of a month or so where there's just nothing to do.
I've got 2 questions. So one is that you've successfully done this for 15 years. This is your living, and you're a professional at that. And you have to have a really good mindset and a discipline to continue doing that over and over and over again. So from my observation, because Mary and I have been Taxi members actually Mary's the Taxi member. I'm the guest. Is that right, producer? Okay, that's right. So I've gone to 2 road rallies, or was it 3? I can't remember. Two, I think.
Okay.
So here's the thing that some of you guys don't know. Like, there are thousands of Taxi members.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do the road rally, there could easily be 1,000, 1,500 people that are converging in Los Angeles.
Yeah. I think it's usually like 2,500.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even more than I thought. So from all over the world, that's who actually shows up to that.
Yeah.
Minus whatever else is still out in the world. And it's 2025, and we live in a world of AI now, where AI can take over doing so many things.
Yeah.
Like AI can write a song.
Yep.
And so you're a really great success story of all of that. But I want to be like, where's the realism in that? Like, can somebody join Taxi today and become a music producer and writer for film and TV? Like, do they still have like a equal opportunity to be successful in that? Or do you think that there's so many people that have been in it so long, like yourself, that have really been successful at it? And can they compete in that world still with those people like yourself and AI kind of taking over?
Yeah. So that's good. The AI is a different. We'll tackle that one here.
Okay.
Because that's a can of worms. But yeah, newcomers to this, and if you were just starting today, TV music is still the land of plenty. I mean, it's the uninhabited Wild West. I mean, there's just so much opportunity out there still to this day, even though more and more people are trying to make a mark musically. Gosh, just look at all the TV networks that are out there. I mean, they're all making shows because they all got to fill up 24 hours worth of programming. So they all have their own unique shows that they're buying from some production company. And these production companies are out there just, I mean, they're making so much stuff you can't even keep up with it.
Okay.
And all of the reality shows are pretty much going to play music from top to bottom with hardly any breaks. So that's 24 hours a day, basically, of music that needs to be filled for one network. And then you just do the math on this. I mean, there's so much opportunity out there, and it is possible for someone to break in still right now. I mean, I talked to one of my best friends who owns a music library, and I became best friends with him through Taxi.
Sure.
And he was just telling me the other day how he's been signing new people from Taxi Forwards.
Okay.
So, people that brand new to the world, but just wrote some music that just for whatever reason just does all the right things.
Yeah.
And so he's taken it, and like they'll at some point, hopefully that music will wind up on a show. And if those composers are smart, they'll just keep making more and more and more, and not just be like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
I got like one song. I got one song signed, done.
Yeah. When I've been there, like at the road rally, like in the bigger convention room, there could be 1,000 people sitting in there, and they're playing music and critiquing it, and they have different panels. Like I've learned a lot just by attending. Like, what are these people actually looking for? And production quality. I think that's another thing that's really, really important is to have really great sounding music for them to use. Not like, oh, I got a Band-Aid. They wouldn't even take a thing that got a Band-Aid, right?
No.
But so I'm looking at this room of 1,000 people with Maserati dreams. Like where
Maserati dreams.
Yeah, just
I like that.
Just like you.
You gotta use that term.
Well, you can have it.
This works. Oh, thank you.
You can have it. You can use that. It's everybody's going and they're trying to get an education on how to be better at what they do. And it's really interesting to listen to some of the stuff that gets submitted and then how they critique that, just like they did with the country song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was cool. That was cute.
Next.
Yeah. So let's touch really quick. So you mentioned when you got started, you had to get a computer and you had to get Pro Tools and you had to learn this stuff. Does any of your college experience help you in the music part of that?
No, not a bit. Well, so I'll take that back.
I was going to say, do you need a music degree? Does that?
No. Oh, I see what you're saying. No, absolutely not. I was not even a music major. I was a
communications.
I was a communication major. I did take enough classes to get a music minor.
Okay.
But I was like, this ain't my spot here.
Sure.
So I only went through the first couple of classes on each little thing that they had to do, enough to get the minor, which was, 30 credits of music classes, where a major would be like 120 credits, through the whole program. So I learned some music theory. This was late 90s. I don't remember any of it, like none of it. I people would just be amazed. I always get people asking me, because I have this little YouTube channel, like a music production channel. That's
I want to talk about that too.
Spoiler alert, it's not about how to produce music. It's just about how to navigate this industry.
Yeah.
But people are always asking, well, I'd love you to do a tutorial on how you compose music. I'm like, there ain't nothing to what I do. It's me with like one fingering a keyboard until I come up with something that sounds good enough. And it's on MIDI, so if I hit wrong notes, I grab them with the mouse and move them. I'm not good at it. I don't know what chords I'm playing. Like I don't even play chords. I play one note at a time and then copy it and drag it on top of the other one until something cool sounds. Until it makes something cool. I don't know what chords or what voicings. I know nothing. So this should reassure people who don't have the music knowledge that you don't need to be a music whiz to have a music career.
Yeah.
And if I can do it, then certainly anybody can do it. You just have to like not give up. I think that's more than anything. That's what set me apart from everyone else who's tried to come into this industry. And then a few years later, they're like, nah,
they're bailing on it.
They're gone.
Yeah. You just stayed the course.
I was too stupid to quit. Like, that's the only secret to my success. I just never stopped. And I still don't know what I'm doing.
James Harrison has a really great question. He said, I like putting them up on the screen.
Yeah, stick it in.
Do you visualize any framework or images when you write these TV snippets? What you have in mind might not be at all what it's used for.
Yeah. That happens all the time. So the second part of that question, that music gets used for something that was completely unforeseen by me.
Yeah.
Usually if I'm writing at the direct request of a music library, it's because they have a contract with a certain show and they need a certain style of music. So a lot of times they'll give me reference tracks and say these are the songs, or these are the tracks that got used a bunch last year. They loved them. I mean, these were used in every episode. So just make some of that, and you'll be the next reference track.
Make some more cookies.
Yeah, and that's all it is. I say it's just making widgets is all it is.
Yeah.
Every now and then I will get video footage of a show that's in progress. That's very rare. Usually you're composing this stuff blind. Like you don't see any video. You just have to, once you've done it long enough, you know what to do and what works and everything. But every now and then I'll get the video. And when I do get those, so I have to sign an NDA, like a non-disclosure thing, but it doesn't prohibit me from saving the video file. So I save them on my desktop. And if I'm ever in doubt that my music might not sound humorous enough, because mostly what I write is comedy music. And you might be like, well, what the hell is comedy music? Yeah. That's usually the next question. Okay. But,
well, what the hell is comedy music?
Hey, thanks for asking. You're the first person that's ever asked. It's not that the music is funny.
Yeah.
It's not comic music. It's just it's music that is quirky enough that when you put it into a video, it makes whatever scene is playing seem funny.
Yeah.
Or whimsical or quirky or offbeat or whatever. So if I'm ever in doubt that I might have missed the mark, I'll just bring up these old NDA files from some Real Housewives, or whatever the show is. It hasn't been Real Housewives that I've got these files for, but I don't remember the names. And I'll just play the video and play my music. And if I'm like, oh, hey, it works.
Yeah.
Then I'll be like, okay, I got it. And if it doesn't set the comedic mood, then I know I've missed the mark somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if that answers your question, James. There have been times where I've gotten video back from a library and say, hey, look how they used your music. They're like, you'll never believe this one. I actually got an ambient guitar thing. This is something I made probably 8 or 10 years ago. Ambient guitar, like that's a real TV genre.
Okay.
We work in genres that most musicians outside of the TV industry would never have heard of.
Is that?
Yeah, like comedic urban comedy. Like, what the hell is urban comedy? Yeah, it's a genre that I write in.
Urban comedy.
Another one that I used to do a lot of was ambient guitar, and I'm not a guitarist, so this actually, you'd be like, well, why are you writing guitar music? Because I'm not that good. I could play one note at a time and build these soundscapes built off one note and then reverse the note and just kind of make these things that they're like ethereal, feely things. And I couldn't overplay them because I don't know enough about playing guitar to overplay. So like there's a lesson in simplicity there. But I had no idea where that stuff was going to be used. I figured maybe for some relaxation scene, if I don't know, if the Kardashians went to a spa somewhere and it's just kind of like new agey, chill, Zen stuff.
Yeah.
Turned out it got used on a commercial from China for like the Chinese IKEA.
Oh,
yeah. So it starts off with a scene of a guy like picking up his bedroom, like his cluttered bedroom, and getting this box and setting it down in the middle of the room and opening it and finding all the pieces that he had to construct the furniture out of. And then it switched to another piece of music. I'm like, well, that is completely strange.
Right.
I never would have expected
that. Doesn't sound like a massage.
Yeah.
That sounds like a sweaty job.
Yeah.
I'm going to build some furniture.
That's a very strange usage of
that. These instructions are in English.
Follow.
Wait, did I just say that? I got to be careful.
Edit. You got 7 seconds. Go, Mary. Go.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay, so
James, hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, so you have a YouTube channel.
I do.
Matt's Music Minute.
Yeah.
Tell us about Matt's Music Minute and why does it exist?
Well, okay, good question. So I have, over the course of the past X number of years,
was watching Fred Fisher.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, I gotta copy that guy.
That would be the XXX number of years. Hey, triple X. If you missed the joke. I've always been asked, like, how do I do certain things?
Yeah.
Or what's my advice on this, that, or the other? And I've got this group of people. I know you've mentioned on your show, which you're a part of, a group of people that we get together at my house every 6 weeks, 2 months or so. And I teach them the business. And I go to music conferences and different universities and teach some of this stuff. But people are always emailing me with questions. Do you have a class? That's one of the things I ask. Do you have a class? Like, no, I don't have a class. I'm not going to have a class like all these other schmucks out there that don't know jack, that are selling some overpriced $2,000 class, and all they got to show for like their credits. So I got one placement on Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're worth $2,000.
Yeah, there you go.
I wrote a CD. No one even paid $10 for that. So I was like, no, I don't have a class.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what I know. I'm not going to charge you for it. But I got enough of that happening that I was like, I could probably make a YouTube channel and just put all of my knowledge onto these different videos.
Yeah.
And just have it available for people. And that way, if it ever gets to the point where it could be monetized, then YouTube could pay me.
Sure.
And that way I'm not taking any money from composers or songwriters. I don't feel right about doing that. Like, most composers and songwriters, they're scraping to get by the way it is anyway. They're chasing a dream, and I don't want to be the person that's out there fleecing them. There's enough of that out there. So I was like, but if YouTube pays me, I'll take. YouTube's got plenty of money.
Sure.
They can fork it over.
Sure.
Yeah. So I started this channel back in like October, and I don't even know how many videos I've got now. Quite a few, 40 or something, 50.
Producer, how many videos does Matt have on Matt's Music Minute?
Oh, she's on it right now.
She's on it. Yeah.
She's got the screen up and everything.
I know. This is why I have a producer. You there.
Lovely.
Tell me some information. Make it quick.
You just need the earpiece. You can just whisper it to you. And we got to go to commercial. We got breaking news.
Can you check to see how many videos Matt has on his YouTube channel?
So anyways, that was the reason for the YouTube channel, was like, enough people have asked me for things over the years that I figured there might be some market for the broader general public that's interested in this stuff.
Yeah.
So the next time I get a question, I'll just be like, just subscribe to the channel. There's a video. I got a video about it. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So,
well, I enjoy it, A, for the information, and B, for how it's presented.
Yay, thanks.
Because you have this personality that's really exciting and engaging, which is way better than saying, well, welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you joined me, and welcome, rock stars. We're going to talk about, should I have a full-fledged studio, or can I just have a computer on my and I mean, you wouldn't even get that far. People would be like, next,
right? Yeah. And there's a lot of that stuff out there, and some by some really, really nice guys. But yeah, when I started mine, I knew that there was plenty of material out there. Like, there's 1,000 music channels out there that do all the tutorials and they'll walk you through the gear and like everything you need to know. Someone's already done it.
Sure.
So I'm like, well, I got to take a different tack. And so let me just talk about areas of the music business that probably aren't really discussed, and how to navigate that whole world and how to prepare yourself mentally and emotionally for the rejection and the failure that is surely going to come your way, and how you can weather the storm, and the realities that you're just not going to get from most stations or most YouTube channels that are like, here's how I make music, or this is so great, look at my check. This is the easiest thing in the world. Because I mean, it does get easy, but it's not when you're first getting started. And if you're watching some of these people, you just think that like becoming the next big thing is a walk in the park.
Yeah, exactly. When you discover somebody who's really successful at whatever it is they do, that's where your knowledge of that person intersects, right? So, but you don't know the backstory of the struggle for the last however many years or decades or whatever that is. Like you're a guy, like you said, well, I didn't quit. I just kept going. You just refused to stop. Where a lot of people, 3 years in, or maybe even 1 year in, or a couple months in, just go, man, this is too much work.
Yeah.
Or they don't have any direction in what they do. So I think, like, as far as direction in what you do, that's where your channel really comes into play, and to like inspire people to keep going and to do those things and do the right things. Yeah.
Yep. I hope it does. Anyways, that's the goal of it, is to keep people motivated and to tell them, I don't know if it's the right way, but it's the Matt way. And if it's worked for me, then it must be right enough.
Yeah.
So I just try to put all that information out there. And as I got more comfortable with editing videos, they're getting a little more chaotic and over the top.
But
it's fun.
Yeah.
But, it just makes it different than everything else I've seen. So I haven't seen everything. So there might be someone else with a channel just like mine.
Well, I think, so I kind of have the same approach for what I'm doing, like even right now, is like I go and watch podcasts, especially ones with guests, and it seems so scripted.
Yeah.
It's the formulation of that just doesn't feel genuine to me.
Dude, got you. You know what? That's actually one of my biggest beefs with the show Hot Ones. You ever seen Hot Ones?
I have not, but do you have music in it?
Oh, no. I think it's just a YouTube show.
Yeah.
But it's a guy, he had a great gimmick where he was going to bring in celebrities and interview them while they eat chicken wings in a progressively more spicy hot sauce.
I have seen some of those.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's really captivating to watch these, A-list, the biggest of the biggest stars eating this spicy sauce.
To die.
Yeah, trying not to die while they're getting asked questions. And the guy who hosts it, he comes up with some incredibly good questions, like stuff these guys have never been asked before. So I got to give him kudos for that.
Yeah.
But my biggest beef is it sounds so scripted. Like there's as good as he is with writing the question, the delivery, it seems so stilted. And it could be the editing, could be the way it's filmed. I don't know. But
I wonder, maybe in that particular situation, if that celebrity has a manager that's vetting the questions, or like, you can't ask this, you should ask this, or whatever.
It could be.
So they might be strong-armed a little bit.
But even so, it's like when the question is asked, it's almost like the guy's reading it from paper.
Yeah.
Like, side note, I also do some teaching as an adjunct professor, teach Communication 101, which one of the biggest components of that class is public speaking.
Yeah.
And people are always like, can I read my speech? Can I bring up a manuscript? Well, I mean, I'm not going to tell you no, but here's the danger. You're going to sound like a robot. Right. And it's better just to have some key words and know what you're going to say, but allow it to come off naturally. Otherwise, it just sounds incredibly stilted. Like you can always tell the difference between someone who's reading from a script versus someone who's just talking.
Right.
And the Hot Ones guy sounds like he's reading, as cool as the show is. And I've watched so many of it. It's like really captivating.
But I think that's like with your channel. And the producer says 58 videos.
I made 58 videos.
Yeah.
Oh, I surprised myself.
Nice work.
Hey,
nice work. Yeah. It's, you just have that personality that's really engaging, and
hey, it's Michelle.
Michelle's there.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine.
I just saw her name cross the screen.
Yeah. Well, we got Michelle Whipple and Michelle Lindley here.
Oh, 2 Michelles.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, hi to both Michelles.
One's in Canada and one's in Cascade.
Well, how about that? Pretty much the same place. It's both America.
They're both north of here.
Yeah. They're both part of America. At least will be soon.
Ding ding.
Yeah. Sorry, Michelle. I just can't resist. You know I don't believe any of that.
But Michelle says the Matt way works. Yeah. And Michelle and Todd have had a lot of success with True Swans in recent history. So
yeah, I'm so happy for that.
I would love to get both of them on.
Oh, that'd be I was thinking earlier today. I'm like, I wonder who else Fred could get from the group.
Yeah.
Nico would be great.
Yeah. There's such a special thing that we have with our songwriters group, composer group.
Yeah.
That you spearheaded. And
yeah.
It's she says hi. Oh, that's Michelle Whipple. Hi. They're both saying hi.
Hey, is that a fire thing or some hands?
I can't tell. I think it's a big smiley face.
So I actually made an appointment at the eye doctor because I haven't had my eyes checked.
I was there yesterday, buddy.
Well, I got to my appointment and they said, because I just taken my daughter there. We got the same insurance. Her exam was covered.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'll schedule one too. So I went in and they're like, we're having a problem with your insurance. And I was like, what's the same one I get from my daughter?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, well, your daughter's is covered because it's called preventative annual children's checkup or whatever. But mine falls under a different category. It's like, that'll be $140. I'm like, oh, come on.
Your insurance says you're old and you're dying.
Yeah,
we can't fix your eyes.
Oh, anyways, that's why I'm squinting.
So James says, I never script anything on his videos, but I also stumble or forget things in the moment. Just leave it in anyway.
Yeah, I do that too all the time, James. That's why I make gratuitous use of the edit feature.
Yes.
There's just chop edits.
You'll say a word and then you look up and you're like, is it this word? Is it that word? Yeah, I do this. I stumble around too. But one thing that I want to talk about real quick is you have a mindset and a way of thinking and a discipline that I think a lot of people miss in their own lives. So I watched you become this bodybuilder guy and a successful musician in all of that. So what is your daily thing that makes you get up in the morning and say, I'm on a mission? What's your routine?
I don't know,
Thank
man.
You,
that's just the mindset I've had for as long as I can remember.
You think that's in your DNA, or was that something you learned?
I really couldn't tell you. Although I
why not?
Yeah. Oh, no, it's just the way I am. Like, I can tell you why my hair's blonde.
Okay.
I bleached the hell out of that myself. But I can't tell you why I've got a personality trait. I will say though that I'm easily distracted, but not by things that really take me away from what I need to be doing.
Okay.
So there's moments where I'm working and I'll check the phone, make the classic mistake of hitting Instagram, and then then 10 minutes, 20 minutes has gone by. What just happened?
Yeah.
Same. So that does happen to me, but I never get to the point where I drop the main focus. Like, I'll go down little side distractions and allow myself more leniency than I should give myself on those. But I've never been one to be like, oh, okay, well, it's 7:00, time to go watch my Tuesday night lineup of TV shows. I remember growing up 90s, you had your Thursday night lineup.
Sure,
remember all the Thursday night shows.
You gotta watch
those were the good ones.
And
me and my family, I remember we'd go downstairs where the TV was back. You only had one back in those days.
Right.
And like about 7:00, that's when the shows started airing. And you'd sit down there and you'd watch one show into the next, and there'd be like 4 shows back to back in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then it was time for a shower and bed because school was the next morning.
Right.
And we all did it as a family thing, but I just don't do that anymore. There's never a time where I'm like, well, it's my time to go watch my shows.
Yeah.
So I'm just always working. And like last night, I was working probably till about 11 p.m. on until I was like, I got to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. I'm
going to Fred's house. Yeah.
But I mean, there's just, I don't allow myself to go down any distractions that really take my eye off the prize.
Yeah.
Like little things here and there, the Instagram, checking the emails, like those happen, but I'm never to the point where it's like every week, Tuesday night or Thursday night, there's work stops at 7 because I got TV to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've always had this impression on me as a guy that's motivated to get things done, like not a lazy person.
Yeah.
So one thing, going back to Matt's Music Minute, I think your first video that you did of 2025 was to set lofty goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that really, really made an impression on me when you said that, like set lofty goals. It wasn't related to me like sitting down and making music cues every day because I had a dream of that, but it was just like whatever I'm trying to do in my own music career as a drummer is set those lofty goals, have big aspirations, and then making a plan to execute that.
Yeah.
And because that leads to the next big lofty goal and the next big lofty goal. And I hear my Vander Boegh voice. See, I'm just learning how to speak, people. I get this little Vander Boegh voice in my head. Set lofty goals.
Yeah.
And so that's thank you for that.
You're welcome.
It was really cool.
Thanks.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up, but before
is it time already?
Well, yeah, we got
Holy
Mary
smokes.
made us breakfast.
Oh, hey yo. Okay, so it's time to quit.
Well, so Mary suggested this a while back, and we started it last week when Jared was on. We thought, if we're gonna have an in-studio guest, we should do this hang, and then we do another hang where we have breakfast and drink coffee.
Love it.
So that's what we're gonna do next. But we want to give away this pair of drumsticks to all the people who put Drummergy in the comments. And we'll see where I'm shipping this beautiful pair of sticks off to. Okay.
Now, there's the bucket.
All right, Matt's gonna do the last week we did this.
Oh yeah, hit it. Boom. Okay, I got one. Tony Galaz.
Tony Galaz.
Ching.
We'll ship a pair of sticks to Tony.
Yeah, and some popcorn crumbs.
Yeah.
Whatever's left after we eat.
And then I'm going to put the sticks in here and ship them.
You get those sticks in a 32-ounce
strawberry cup. So this episode today was brought to you by Daddy's Popcorn. Let's see if I can get that. And you can get that from Mr. Matt VB at the Farmers Market in Caldwell every Tuesday.
Yeah. You tell me you saw us on the Drummergy Podcast.
Yes.
I'll give you a little discount.
There you go.
The Drummergy discount.
That's right. It's going to charge you double.
Yep. 3 for $50.
See, that's the Maserati dream right there. That's the Maserati dream. Thank you, everybody, for joining in and weighing in. I think I got all the important comments. I try to get them all. Zach, Tony, you're going to get a pair of sticks, my friend. I'll even sign them if that's what you'd like. I'll do that. Let's see. 58 videos on Matt's Music Minute.
There's a long that's Mary.
Yeah, I think she was giving your
a little bio.
Yeah, a little bio. Okay. Jim Royal, who's back in the New England states, that's Let's Go and Let's Grow.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Perfect. Guys, thanks so much. Next week, Jamie Vink. Jamie,
hey.
Yeah, Jamie was here. Next week, I will have drummer Matt Muckle on the show.
Another Matt.
Back-to-back
Matts.
That's right. I got to find a third Matt. You can have the trifecta Matt.
Or just do it by yourself, but have a welcome mat just hanging in the background.
Welcome Matt. Getting dinks. Yeah, we can definitely do that. So, Matt Muckle will be on next week, and we'll talk to him. He's currently the drummer for the band Kingdom Come.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We're going to go eat breakfast.
See ya, suckers.
See ya, suckers. Nighty night. Let's see here.